I did not know what I was missing out on with the franchise until I, as of a few hours ago, just beat for obviously the first time. First off, I want to say that if this audio sounds different or funny in any capacity, it's because I'm trying out something. I noticed recently while rewatching one of my videos, there was a constant underlying, bass going on, and a buddy of mine was telling me that it's because of the mic's natural, buzzing noise or whatever that goes on in the background, and with the after effect that I put on for my voice modulating, it essentially just basses it out. So he told me that this is how I adjust it. So I'm trying something new, hopefully it works, we'll see. Still coming off of having had a sore throat recently and a little bit of a cough and a sneezy issue. So if I sound different at all, that also might be part of it, but doesn't matter. You're here for my opinion, not for my sound of my voice, right? Doom the Dark Ages was an absolute blast to play. Don't listen to whatever IGN style opinions you hear out there. Don't try to rip it apart as some deeper meaning, critical thought, mentally engaging, whatever you want to fucking call it. It is simply put a fun game to play with enough of a story to keep you going. Now, there's probably a lot more plot importance than I know, because I'm not one who's been into the Doom series. I tried to play 2016, didn't get super far into it, never got to try Eternal. I played a little bit of the OG Doom, the Doom 64 or whatever, but that's about it for me, for my experience with the Doom franchise. And that's not because I think it's a bad franchise, it's just it never really hooked me enough for me to play a game all the way through. So I'm not bagging on it in any regard, I'm just saying this is my opinion on it. Doom the Dark Ages, on the other hand, is the first Doom game that I've ever completed in full, and I really enjoyed it. It was a great time. It keeps a revolving door of activity that just keeps you moving and lets you carry through the game. I would say my only complaint, and this isn't a critique, this is just a me personally thing, the map in the game shows you where all the secrets are. And I know my buddy is going to be watching this at some point, and he's probably going to poke a finger at me over it because we kind of talked about it a little bit. He didn't do any secret hunting when he played the game, and I was at about mission 10 or 11 where I finally stopped, but the map in the game shows you where the secrets are. Once you've gotten close enough, I think actually it just shows you off rip where the secrets are. It just doesn't tell you what they are until you get closer or whatever. Either way, I had a really bad issue with the first 10 or 11 missions. I was 8.5 hours of gameplay in. My buddy had beaten the game with that much gameplay time, and I was only halfway through the game because I was spending all this time secret hunting and trying to do all the side objectives and everything. Finally, I was look, I can feel myself slipping out of playing this game, and I'm far enough in that I really want to beat it. So I put the secret hunting aside, and I just hammered through the rest of the game, and it literally took me 2 more days to beat it. That was it. I played a good few missions before work one day, and then I was off work today, and I hammered out the last bit that was left. Great time. It really was. The combat was a lot of fun. I will agree with the point that my buddy Kane made. It is super focused on their new parry system. Somebody was really proud of themselves for coming up with it, and they just fucking ran with it. The entire game revolves around parry, shoot, dodge, parry, shoot. It's a little ridiculous at times, truly. There's a couple enemy types that it feels like the only way to fight them is with the parry mechanic, and then there's the fodder enemies that you almost don't even notice are there until you're low health and you're like, I need them, where are they at? Let me shield saw them so I can save myself here. A few weapons that I really enjoyed. I got a few weapons gold by the end. I had I think it was called the Spiker, the Super Shotgun, the Rocket Launcher, and the Cycler were all gold. And then I also really liked the Ravager. I didn't have that one gold by the end of the game, but I really liked it, and I actually beat the final boss with almost just the Ravager, because it's kind of busted once you get that first upgrade, and if I would have gotten the second upgrade, I'm sure it would have been absolute cake. The dragon gameplay was a lot of fun. The dragon controls were super simple, easy to grasp, and they didn't really feel all that clunky. The only thing that kind of sucked was getting a feel for the gunfire tracking with the dragon when you're in the burst mode, because I'd be sitting there chasing ships trying to shoot, and it's okay, well, they made a sharp turn before I can make a sharp turn, and it feels like I'm spending a lot of time correcting before it locks back onto him, and that might have just been a skill issue on my end, truly. I mean, I really don't even feel like the game was at fault for that. I think that was just me. The Atlan was a lot of fun to pirate as well. Had a great time with that. Those missions felt good. They didn't feel slow, by any means. You could tell that it was a big machine because of that slight slowness that it had, but it moved quickly and the game kept carrying through the Atlan portions, so it wasn't a detriment in any way. I think that's one thing that I've always had a complaint about, and I know like balancing wise it makes sense, but like in games like Sparking Zero, I've always said it would be more interesting to me to see the gigantic creatures moving at the same speeds that the regular sized creatures are, because I think that'd just be a lot more menacing to see them moving at those hyper speeds and shit. So this game did a pretty good job of balancing that, you know, being a big creature, fighting big creatures at what feels like a normal pace. It's not like everything is super slow down. And the fact that the combat was different too also helps separate it. You know, it's not like they just gave you mech versions of your weapons to use, which would have been, in my opinion, overly in-depth to have, because, you know, creating a duplicate version of your arsenal for your Atlan for like the, I think 3 times or 4 times in the whole game that you use it, it would have been a little excessive, but maybe that's just me. I'm really glad the underwater portions weren't too frequent throughout the game. Not that I think they were bad, I'm glad. There are definitely some games that they work out their underwater mechanics and then they overuse it, and it just becomes dry, and it slows down, and it pulls you out of it. There was just enough in this game. It was just enough to remind you that it's there, and that you wouldn't forget, you know, your little control scheme of just how to swim through the water and shit, without being distasteful, pretty much. I really liked, the maker, I forget his name, but the maker and his little betrayal and everything, that was really cool. His boss fight was fun, even if it was pretty easy. Azarak was a lot of fun to fight. I just got annoyed that the first time you fight him 3 times, and the second and third round that you fight him feel almost the same. Like, yeah, third round he's got different abilities than in second round, but he still looks the same, and there's really nothing else that's different. It's the same arena and everything. Like, I just got a little annoyed with that, but otherwise, it was a great fight. The last 2 missions of the game were phenomenal. They were a lot of fun. Thera being a Wraith was really interesting and cool, especially as somebody who knows nothing about the Doom lore and Doom franchise as a whole. King Novik, I think, was a really cool character. He was well-spoken in the times that he was needed and he was shown. I really enjoyed the overall, like, medieval meets futuristic aesthetic that they had built for this game. I think they did it really well, and it tied together phenomenally. And from what my buddy said, it seems like it, you know, leads pretty cleanly into the events of 2016 and Doom Eternal. So, you know, I guess I'll let everyone else be the judge of that. I'm not really the one to weigh in on there. I don't really have anything else to say on it, so hopefully that was enough for you to get my feelings for the game. I had a good time. It was fun. I don't think I'm ever going to play it again unless they end up adding like any kind of multiplayer or horde mode multiplayer or something. I just don't see myself revisiting it, pretty much. Not because it was bad, but just because, you know, it was kind of a one and done experience. So, if you have anything to say, please keep it yourself, because I absolutely hate reading comments. I hope this video has been entirely unhelpful to you, and I hope you have a bad day. Like, Jesus. Like, Atlas, or, of, like,